what I want to do here is just to talk about how these guys can be successful transitioning out of the military. I know the last time we spoke, we were in Vegas at an
Dallas.
air show to help you guys out with the recruiting. And yeah, I've been super helpful with recruiting these guys, getting them started in a great career at Allegiant and sending guys your way as well. And at a brief period of time, maybe a year, our students were, you were bringing us students to get on their A&P and have them ready for working on the line at Allegiant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you talked to any of the guys over there?
Haven't seen them. They're all over the place. My counterpart, Scott, is the one that is usually in touch with them. If they get on the line and they're spread away, they just embed with their teams and they forget about me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, again, thank you for taking the time here. I won't take up too much of it. First question would be, what do you see from the military maintainers, whether it's Army or Air Force guys, that they probably struggle into that transition? Like, what is the first set of questions they ask you?
Usually when I get those guys, they have no clue what to do. Just
Hmm.
absolutely no clue. Let's say out of 10, maybe one did some type of research and they know about the 8610-2. You've been in there, maintainers don't really get the attention that the pilots get, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. I know nowadays they're trying to do better, but it's not enough. There's no reason why these maintainers, while they're back from tech school, they're not hammering them to try to get them to go out and figure out how to get their A&Ps, knowing they're going to be doing that job for a whole contract or at least 3 years to 4 years. Part of it is they want airmen and Marines and soldiers to go out and find that information themselves. They don't want to hold your hand through all of that. But they also have to understand first term enlisted folks, it's there is an overwhelming amount of information that is just flooding through. They need to get some type of representative, part of the professional development. They need to push them together A&Ps, whether they'll use it on the line or not. Because there's a lot of opportunities where you still need an A&P and you don't have to work on the line anymore. You could incorporate records management, the heavy maintenance representative. Those guys, they travel a lot. They're not really working on the line, but they're experts. So that was one of the things I wish I did before I got out. Even though maintenance is not really the path I took on the civilian side, it's something good to have in the back pocket.
And I know you haven't really caught up with the guys going, but what's their path like? Is it pretty quick? They're moving up as far as maybe pay, and you don't have to say the numbers, anything like that. I don't want to put you in that position, but I'm just moving up the ladder.
From
Is
what I've
that
seen,
quick?
because it's been 3 years or almost four when we build a program and we have it going, as far as progressing, that's all up to them. What I see from the maintenance side, there's a lot of turnover in the sense that people come in, we're working on Airbuses and Boeings, not regional jets. So they come in, they get their ratings on these big jets, and it opens up the path for them to go to Delta or Alaska or the bigger airlines. So I've seen
Yeah.
that quite a bit. If they want to stick with us, it's so easy to become a line manager or whatnot. It depends on what they want and how hungry they are. I think most of them want to chill out for a year or two for the
Yeah.
military and just work on planes and not deal with people. And then after that, hunger comes in. Yeah, that's what I've seen.
And when you say not deal with people, what do you mean?
As in management, right? Because the moment you're in management, now you're running a team. So you just want to be out there turning wrenches and crewing jets. When the path is open, I mean, we've had a few management roles, a few base manager roles, a few director roles that popped out. So with those guys, they just want to see them come in and, get with the teams, forget the military side of things, gain that experience.
And what do you hear from these guys that, been in already 2 years with Allegiant, and they say, what is like the difference between the military side of things and let's say like
Yes.
a E5, for example, right? You had a supervise maybe 2, 3 guys,
Mhm.
couple, and then he goes over to your company. What do you hear? It's like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to do X, Y, and Z, or the military had it this way easier? Like, what would you say, like, what they're happy that they don't have to do?
It's a little more relaxed. They don't have to worry about it coming out and it becomes a whole ordeal. Safety is still heavy, but the military mindset is just we nitpick everything like 10,000 times. On this side, you don't have to worry about going to an officer to figure something out. You can just talk to people. You can
Yeah.
show up and talk to the senior VP of maintenance and just ask questions. You can call them on Teams. So it's much more relaxed that way. And it allows for them to learn quicker without having to worry about, some E4 mafia is going to do this. And then, accountable for them. That piece is a weight lifted off their shoulders. But as far as safety goes and quality assurance and all that stuff, it's still there. Now they just have the freedom to be able to just say, hey, stop. Oh, I think I messed up. Let's fix this. I see this happening. There's more freedom. On the side of that is because we've been trained like robots, following that tech data and everything, easier for them to catch things. I think it's a nice synergy between them and folks that have not been in the military, as long as they want to control it and not be bossy. Because you can kind of that sometimes.
You say they come in, they can level up pretty fast. What's it like in the first, let's say, 90 days of working at Elite? What does that look like?
Well, the first 90 days you come in, it's a bunch of training that you have to catch up on. The A&P path, you have that, you come in, there's the whole ILDOC and Gen Fam on whatever jack you're going to be going on. Then you get paired up with whoever on your team, as some type of mentor. Because you coming off the flight line on the military side on an F-16 is different being under Boeing. So there's somebody not holding your hand, but making sure you acclimate quickly.
A mentor. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. A mentor, right?
And nobody's really rushing them, which is good. So there's that piece.
Okay.
I haven't heard any complaints, so that's good.
Yeah, that's really good. And it's always good to have a mentor, kind of, especially going from a helicopter or an F-16 to body.
Yeah.
And how long are they in like Gen Fam classes?
It depends on the path they took to come in. Came through hiring our heroes, it can be a little longer just for that timeline. If they're out and we're sending them the code one or whatever path they're going through, Gen Fam and INDOC, don't quote me on this, but it's pretty quick. It's not that long. I don't know, 14 days or so.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not what training they're doing. So
yeah, I would assume that the bolts are still lefty loosey, righty tighty.
right.
Yeah. And things like that.
Yeah.
As far as what you see, what are like a couple of things that the mindset of the military going in a corporation, airline company, like what are some things that they can like, all right, in the military, you learn this, or this is the type of mindset, but you don't need to do that no more here.
The first thing I'm going to tell them is, especially people who reach a certain rank before coming up. So I'm talking staff sergeant and above and major and above. When you come in over to the corporate side, nobody cares. Your rank means nothing. I'll give you an example. I worked with a lieutenant colonel who were hiring our heroes path. And it was so tough for him to let go of command because he was transitioning out of that. We've had conversations as respectful as I could be, but it's gotten to a point where he just couldn't do it. And then he left and went back to a government contractor job where he can actually act like a commander. Because people, they don't understand what a lieutenant colonel is. They don't understand what a commander is. They don't understand what a master sergeant is. So you come in trying to give orders or try to direct people to do things. They're going to look at you and say, I don't know what anything you're talking to.
Yeah.
Your job is to deal with other directors. Don't come down here trying to tell me how to do my job, especially when I'm not under you. So it's a big adjustment. They just have to let go of what they think they know in the military as far as managing and leading people. It's completely different. You could be a crappy colonel. People still have to salute you because of the rank. You've been trained with that. But you come on the civilian side and do that? Yeah, no, it's not flying.
Just out of curiosity, when this commander, what What position?
It
Like
depends.
color position?
It really depends because I've talked to full birds that were their entire career. They've been in ammo and they've been leading ammo troops and stuff like that. And they made the rank of full bird. And they think they could come here to the civilian world and get the VP role. And
Yeah.
it's like, you're not going to get a VP role of stations, managing stations, when you've been dealing with people that build bombs. It
Yeah.
doesn't work like that. The experience have to line up. So when we put out job descriptions, there are certain minimum experiences that you have to have. There's some
Yeah.
preferred requirements. The airline is so unique that, I mean, from pilots, you come in and be a first officer, no matter how long you be flying,
Yeah.
you have to have been doing certain things to prepare yourself to be able to get a VP level role. Otherwise, it's very tough because now you're competing with people who are in the company or in the business and they've been working their entire lives to try to get to that level. And now they have this experience, you have this military experience. So I think when I was a recruiter in the Guard, one of the things we used to sell, and I think now we sold it the wrong way, is that you could do this job in the military and then get out and the civilian world will love you. It's very industry based. Federal government jobs, it's easier. They prefer military no matter what you've done. As long as you're in the military, it's easier because of that preference. And the civilian side, you got to have that experience. It's competitive out there.
Yeah. You got to earn your stripes, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, thank you for your service, but, you know, you've been in services working your entire career. You can't, you know, and now you're a chief. Great. You can't come on the civilian side and be a director of HR. It's not going to work.
Yes. Definitely got to learn the structure and how things are run. That makes sense. And let's say they got their A&P. They didn't go through Hire Our Heroes. They went through straight like, oh, I'm going to go online. And, or you might be doing some outreach and, you know, you meet this technician. From what I understand, the language is different, right? You know, flight line, say line maintenance. What would you say is a great resource to help you do that translation?
Today we have AI. Use ChatGPT. It's compiling. Oh, yeah. And, you know, it's very simple. So the way I look at it is this. Maybe you're a 7 level, you're 9 level, working on heavies, because those are the easiest ones to transfer over to civilians. The military gives you TOs, tech orders, tech data to follow for everything you do. It's similar on the civilian side, but our civilian jets are not rigged to do certain max takeoffs like the military planes do. They don't do some hard landings like the military planes do. They're not as rugged as some of the military jets. So when you come in, you got to look at those positions that are that first level role to gain that civilian experience. If you want to be incorporated, then you can look for something a little higher. But as far as you want to be on that jet, working on the plane, you have to start from the bottom and gain that experience. And from there, you can move fast. But that's where networking comes in. If you've been crewing jets your entire career and you're great at it and you come in and you're on a line, maybe 6 months or so, it gives you that 6 months experience on top of whatever you had to move up to what you really want to do. So it's just like the puzzle.
And the Hire Our Heroes, is that like a 6-month apprenticeship program, like, or a skill program?
The skill bridge and hiring our heroes, they go hand in hand pretty much nowadays, but it depends on the time you have left. It's up to 6 months, but if you only have 4 months left, then you can do 3.5 months because it's time to look for a position and to get you in. But even through that, you still have to go through some A&P course somewhere.
You personally, how do you like that program?
I loved it when it was very active. It was new for us, so we had to fight a lot of kinks, convince a lot of money people to allow us to do certain things. I still think we need to take advantage of it, but it's one of those things where when you're not in certain positions to really influence certain people is really hard because they don't understand that it saves us money.
Yeah.
You know, it really saves us money. Yeah, we have some dirtbag airmen out there, right? It doesn't mean we have to hire those folks. If they suck, we don't hire them. We can scrutinize the process, get the best of the best, do a little bit more digging in who they are, maybe talk to their supervisors. But what is it, like $5,000 or so to get them to go through some type of A&P course? Now, it gets expensive when they have to stay in hotels and car rentals and all that stuff, but it's a program that I love it.
Yeah. Does your company still do it? Does it still do the hierarchies? Yeah.
It's tough now because the program changed so much and there's a lot of changes. So we've slowed it down a little bit, but I'm hoping it'll pick back up.
Next year.
I'm
Okay.
really hoping.
Then what would you tell somebody is like, hey, the best to network, I guess you can say. I know you guys were doing air shows and stuff like that. What would you say if somebody's coming in and wants to reach out to you? And what would you say to them? Do networking, but what would that be at?
You know what stuff? We talk about networking, but I'm going to be completely honest. If somebody reaches out to me on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm in the Air Force, I'm getting out, I try my best to say, hey, get on Google, do some research, use the tools that are out there first. Because what was happening when I had the military talent pool, I would have 500 people reaching out to me, and my one recruiter is like, I cannot answer everybody individually. So we start sending mass emails out, right? If you have the experience, fill out that 8610-2. Once it's signed off, then come talk to me. Figure out a way to use Air Force money to get that A&P. Don't wait to get out. We don't know what the market is going to be. The government politics really influence how airlines operate. So one minute we have all the budget in the world. The other minute it's like, we got to cut back on this and that, and programs are the first things to go. So if you wait to get out first, you try to get an airline to sponsor that, you're already late. Air Force Cool, the GI Bill, and whatever it is they have today, use that to try to get your A&P before getting out. It's so much easier. Now, once you have that in your military, it's so much easier to hire those people because we push your application to the top.
Okay, so the company would hire people without a license. I know it might be difficult, no?
You have to have that A&P. Now, when we had the program going and it's financed, it was easier to screen those people. Sometimes we would even have people that we would talk to for a year. And then they finally get all their crap together and then we'll push them through the program. But nowadays we really don't have a budget and it's been dead. So unless they have that A&P,
it's automatic.
Yeah, that A&P.
Decline or, from pot. So until you get that A&P.
With us, we'll just tell you, go get your A&P and come back. I think United, when I was creating the program, actually proposed the name Calibrate. And of course, there were other priorities on all these maintenance folks. And literally 3 days later, United came up with a program called Calibrate for maintainers. Now, I'm not sure if it's military related, but they came up with a program like that. So I know a lot of the big airlines have those programs, but
in Calibrate, what is that? Like kind of like what you guys had, like the outreach?
I'm not sure, but I know it's a pathway for folks to get A&Ps. I just don't know if it's military related. Southwest had a program for military. I think Alaska had one. Delta definitely has one. So they have to shop everywhere. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Shop everywhere if you're already out. But if you're not out yet and you have at least 6 months to a year, use that Air Force money and get your A&P before you get out.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. And then do you guys usually have their tools ready, or is that something that Allegiant supplies, or?
It depends on the company that they go to. I'm not sure if the companies provide those tools, maybe some type of stipend to get them some basic tools. I mostly handle the recruitment part of those people. So once we talk to them, everything on the recruitment side is legal. My counterpart will take them and deal with the maintenance piece. So whatever happens deep in there, like he'll brief me once in a while, but that's information that I don't really need for what I do. I'm pretty sure I've seen, I don't remember what company it is, but they offered, I think, up to $5,000 for tools. I just can't remember which company. Seen something like that. And it wasn't a major carrier. I think it was one of the smaller companies, but don't remember which one it was. If the service member, they're thinking they want to do maintenance when they get out, to not waste time. Even if you don't think you're going to do it, just as long as you're working on jets in the military, just try to get your A&P. It's so much easier because you're already learning, you're already speaking the language, and you have it in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know today, if something goes wrong, I can always go back and get my A&P, even if I have to pay for it. And I'll always, that will work. Yeah.
It's good to know, huh? You see that quite often, is that, you know, they're looking for a job that matches their skills, and it's like they use it like a stepping stone.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to do this. You know, it's a great transition after the military.
It's tough. You know, and I think, quite frankly, they lied to us a bit too much. When you come out of the military, you're competing against people in the civilian world who went to school or have been working in that industry or in that career field for years. And now you're coming out of the military with a similar experience, but now you're going against people who've spent all their time doing this one thing. Military will wear many hats. So if you know how to sell your skills and how to match them up, that's another thing they don't do well. They don't know how to get rid of that military language. Civilian recruiters, and most of them do not understand military jargon. So you have to know how to really translate that stuff to civilian term.
And what are some of the funny translation ones?
I can't think of one on top of my head, but what I usually see, because I don't screen resumes, right? I have my recruiters do that. But what I usually see when it's military resumes is just heavy military terms and abbreviations. And it's like you're trying to impress the civilians, but we don't understand what you're talking about. I can see it. I know what it is, but my recruiters don't. So I got them all trained a little bit to a point where if you see something and you think might be a good qualification, call them and talk to them. You know, don't just discard them, call them and talk to them. I was helping out one of my recruiters the other day. She has about 30 some positions she's working on. So I took one and I was just screening the resume. She had over 50 applications in one day. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to spend a week screening this 50 applications. I'm going to take an hour. So when we look at the resume, we're literally just screening, trying to find your skills really quick. Nowadays, we have ChatGPT. What I tell them is take your military resume, give it to ChatGPT, and put the job description is, and tell the system to reword your experiences to this job description. Just don't lie, don't abuse, because we'll know. It's very easy to tell when somebody embellishes their resume. It's very easy to tell.
I'm going to talk about some hanger stuff, but you know, really work on that side. Do you ever talk to the director of maintenance guys? Like, hey, man, stop doing this, or hey, get some more of this type of guys.
Not necessarily, because we've had so many people move on to bigger things, but the fact that they've been trying really hard to keep the program alive speaks loud.
They want the program to keep running.
Last year, I think we've had one or two that we brought in, as opposed to the 6, 7 we're bringing in, you know, and that's because of a bunch of things that happened with the company. I think next year things will pick up. Those.
It seems like the quotas are being met that way.
I think the airline market right now is very shaky. It's very, very shaky. Spirit and their problems. JetBlue was trying to get Spirit and that was shut down, and it's so much movement going on. It's insane.
I think you've been in news. Allegiant
Just announced that we'll be acquiring them. There's so many questions they haven't been answered yet. Get in, we'll stand by.
And how was that between the guard? Because you were, what did you do in the guard?
I was an F-16 crew chief, then did a recruiting tour, and then worked at the MOC, so the F-35. I got into maintenance because that was the only thing that was available that was cool for me. I was going to go SecFo, but they told me it was full. They're trying to get me to go ammo, and I'm like, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
And I was already working in aviation for station operations before I joined, so I was like, all right, If I can run an airport and then I know something about maintenance, I know I can always go and get my A&P license. Maintenance is not really something that I want to do, but it's there.
Because sometimes I get the question of, hey, I'm in the guard, how can I tell the FAA like, I have experience in this? I know they still, because the rules are a little different. The tempo in the guard is a little different if they're not doing it full time.
Yeah.
Full time, right? When you were doing.
When I was I was on orders quite a bit because I was asked to get on orders because I wanted to wreck up fast. And then I deployed. So that whole time I was on the jet working quite a bit. But I think as long as they look at the levels, if you're 5 level, you've completed a bunch of tasks. So every drill weekend, we're training on something. So it really depends on how quickly and how motivated the person really is. There were some guys I was working with in maintenance that were just no care in the world. Some of them are still E4s.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not very simple. Yeah.
It's
So,
the guard.
and I remember when I joined, there were some E4s that were already working on their 7-level stuff.
Person.
And then they'll give you can pull your training records that has all the tasks you've done. And that with the 8610-2, when you take it to the FAA, they will review that. But you have to have that training record.
Okay. And let's see. They need to get their A&P or 8610-2 at least.
Mm-hmm.
Probably try to get their A&P, right?
Yeah.
You
If
mentioned
you already get that 8610-2, try to contact, I don't know if it's my virtual NPF or what it is, try to get that training record. They should already be pulling all that stuff before leaving anyways. And then contact the FAA. That is the first thing. If there's any company out there that wants to sponsor, that is the first thing to do. Otherwise, you'll go back to the full A&P training.
And sponsoring is sending a guy through
Code One or AIM or
Okay, gotcha. And what are the hard spots that it's hard to fill? Like not just your company, but other companies.
As far as maintenance, it's not even aligned stuff. It's like the heavy maintenance representatives, the very specialized positions. Those are hard because you have to be an expert to be able to do that job. I know the heavy maintenance representative, they travel a lot. You're the person everybody goes to when they don't know something, and you have to figure it out for them.
Is that kind of like AFITs in the military? At least on the F-16 side, I think that's what they call them, right?
At least in the military, you have those crew chiefs, and then you have avionics, and you have people that are specialized in certain things on the jets, and then we're just the jack of all trades. So these guys are kind of like the jack expert of all trades, and like technically workers and things like that. They're tough to fill. But some of them, the job is hard, and then the pay is not very good, but they want the best of the best. So,
is there back shops or is that contracted out? Like say, like in avionics, there's a back shop avionics guys. Yeah. Is there positions like that?
It's probably contracted out.
Oh, gotcha. And A&P, of course, that's the bare, like the minimum. You need to have that. That's a core thing. What's another certification that would help out a guy get hired, come out of the military?
It really depends on what specific thing they did in the military. If the engine run certified, that looks good. Any special thing that they can do in the military will help. But the main thing with the A&P is that it doesn't matter how great you are in the military at fixing jets. On the civilian side, that is what the FAA says you have to legally touch a civilian jet. Even if you have all the amazing certifications in the military, if you don't have that A&P, you can't do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
And let's make it easier. I don't even know why they can't test people right on base that are working on certain jets and give them that license before they get out. But I think the military doesn't want to be liable for things.
Yeah, that is very true. I've helped out tons of places to get their test centers up and going. Yeah, I can do it at Code One, but man, that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part. If those guys can knock that out before they even come to my school, Nellis Air Force Base, I had a student he was a go-getter. He was a hard charge type. And he was interested and I was like, hey man, I like what you're doing. I kind of want to like do the same thing where not start with school, but just get these guys ready to get their A&P, right? And this guy, I gave him the contact on where to get the test center because I already got exhausted from trying to help out other bases because a lot of bases shut me down. And the common objective was, can they do this on the outside? Is there test centers on the outside? I was like, yeah, but it's not free. They had to go.
It's not free.
So that was their thing. And then also, they didn't want to have extra responsibility. It's not like they're getting paid extra. So the education office or whoever is running it, they didn't want that extra duty to run the test centers because that's just extra work for them.
And now they are trying to do something with, I can't remember the name of this company now. It's a newer company that came out recently that was doing something with, I think, Nellis.
Viper, I think it's
Oh, right. Vapor transitions, but I don't know what happened with that either. I think that
the guy was trying to recruit me, but they didn't have time, I guess. And
Yeah.
I'm always down. I help out guys start up school, right? So I give them, I was like, hey, this is what you need to do. Because what I've learned is that you can give them the secrets to everything, but it's still the ambition to actually go to the hassle of doing everything and hope that it continues to be successful. And that's the secret ingredient is that part is that I can give you all my, like, I can give it to you. Yeah. But you're going to
The work.
the legwork, because it was a lot of legwork for me to figure it out. And then the financial burden that goes with it, run everything at the same time and have a great program. So it's like, it's somebody committed to do that. And so, yeah, it was kind of funny because I told him, I was like, hey, contact this lady. If Nellis is open to it, start it up. And he did. He started. And now there's a free test center. And I always try to tell guys, go get your written done first because then it's going to go by so fast. It's like, it's so easy, but of course we help out guys with their writtens. So yeah, if you're out in Nellis or you're out about Vegas, you're military. The big thing I learned is that as long as you can get on base and you have your tickets, you just schedule it with them. If you can get on base, free. You get it scheduled and you can get on base, it's free.
We used to have a contact there that moved on to something else. We don't know what's going on at Nellis anymore.
People with ambition and like they have this mission that they want to start an A&P program on base. It's easy. You can get, the military will fund it. But what I'm coming across before I started Code One is what happened is that they would start the A&P program. And then about 2 or 3 years, it gets shut down because a new commander comes in, new people come in. That guy that was a go-getter and started the A&P program, then he leaves. Then the guys behind them are not as ambitious. The program, so the program
Only work, working with the military and like trying to help them come over to the civilian side. It's having work. I've seen a lot of people do it just for the money. Some of them have contacted me and I just shut them down because that's not what it should be. But the military is moving at 1,000 miles an hour, and I've seen they take better care of the pilots than they do with maintenance. It's unfortunate, but you see it. I guess it's a bigger investment in pilots. Those planes aren't going anywhere, so they need to figure out something. I don't know if maybe they can have some type of tech school that aligns really well with the A&P side of things. But yeah, it's really tough.
I think a little bit is about because there's a shortage. Force will feel the pain too. And maybe I could do the Air Force or a guard, for example, because that's where I was at. Guard. Yeah, I'll get hit up all the time by guardsmen. They say, hey, come to my base and talk about the A&P. In a guard, it's structured a little different, right? Because those guys can say, hey, I don't want to be in the Air Force Guard anymore. I found a better job working at Lockheed Martin, for example, right? So the situation, what happened in Tucson is that they were paying their crew chief quite a bit of money, like $40 an hour. That's pretty good in Tucson. And the reason was because if you have your A&P, and you didn't have to have your A&P in the guard, but the other companies there, they were in a competition with the Custom and Border Patrol, the CBP. In Tucson, their CBP, they need A&P guys. So everybody's competing for the same technicians. And so when I went to go do some outreach, because I was asked to go there, I was like, I'm with some students, I'm on business. I have to get a route. But I got asked to go on there and talk about how to get your A&P. And as kind of like midway through my spiel, I was like, hey, this is how you get it. This is how this opens up, the usual stuff. Midway, they told me I need to go because the commanders are not going to like it that I'm there. I was like, well, first of all, you should have told me that in the beginning.
Instead of wasting my time to get all the way there.
And then it's like, hey, I will recommend that you go because commanders don't like it that you're here. I was like, oh, okay. So, they told me, I was like, hey, this is the reason why. I was like, oh, man, at least you were prepared me a little more, just the prepared part, right? And then I went to a base, Army base, and they didn't tell me none of this out front. And it wasn't until I'm pulling up to the unit and they were like, we put you in this room, secretive. I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. It's like, man, it's like, oh man. I think that's a part of the reason why, because there's a shortage. There's so much competition, even in the military, right?
They're all facilitated for
Trying to
you.
retain. I think that's part of the reason why these guys are clueless when they talk to you. I joined the military. I knew what was the great opportunities out there, and I still say them. So I think it's a factor of trying to retain good, have a good culture too, and continue those guys. And yeah, the politics for me, it was a little bit of the politics because they always say that, war starts when politicians break down.
Real things, yeah.
Because if they can figure out how to make peace, then the Zim, right? So then depending on the politics, we can stay at a place for 20 years or something like that. And it's like, I came in here for the right reasons to fight this and that. And yeah.
The next meeting is starting. I have to sneak away.
All right, man. I'm going to send you some stuff to hopefully it can help you get guys started. So thank you, Freeman, for taking your time. And hopefully we can talk more soon.
Bye.
All right, bye.